Welcome back to another episode of the Easy Button Real Estate Podcast. I am your host, Cole Ruud-Johnson. Today, we may have Tucker join the conversation as things progress. He's got his kids starting school next week, so he's playing firefighter a little bit. But today, we have an awesome guest, Mr. Dave Janis out of Boulder, Colorado, a great client of ours. Been working with him for a while. He's doing really cool stuff from infill development to flips to wholesale deals. He's got a cool on-market, off-market team. He's got his hands everywhere and is doing some cool stuff. So welcome to the show, Dave. Why don't you start just a quick high-level synopsis, what you got going on in Boulder, where things are at today, and then we'll get into some fun questions.
Cool. Sounds good. Thanks, Cole. So I am pretty involved on the development space. We have an we have a internal construction team. Right now, we have 6 new builds going on between $3.5 and $8 million. Those are taking about 18 to 24 months from start to finish. So I've been doing flips and wholesales to create some active income while I'm waiting for those to finish up and close.
Love it. And I think the first question is the chicken or the egg question. What comes first for you? Is it you're using this to fund active income and more development while those projects play out, and this is kind of the engine to continue to grow that, or is it the development's going to feed this and help the wholesale flip side grow? Like, what is the end? Like, what is the winning end state for you? Like your ideal real estate business, what does it look like?
It's interesting. So I mapped out my retirement 5 years ago, and I was like, well, if I could retire in 5 years through selling real estate, I used to sell real estate. Like, what would I do next? My coach asked me, like, okay, so 5 years from now, you pay off all your rentals. What would you do next? And I'm like, well, I'd build houses. And then I was thinking, like, why do I have to wait 5 years to build houses? Why don't I just start now? And so I like building houses. As a kid, I was built forts and trees and forts in the backyard, and just building a house is just like a big fort. I realized when I was building these houses that, like, it was just, there's no income coming in until they're done and sold. And so I was backfilling with the flips and wholesales. And right now, my flip wholesale business is doing pretty well, to the point where some of my flips, I make as much money as a new build. So I don't know. We will see what comes next.
Yeah, there's no like perfect. It fluctuates, the formula, but that's cool, man. I guess what was first for you in this business? Was it you were an agent before anything, or like what was the original kind of journey origin story of doing any kind of real estate deal?
Good question. So 2008, I moved to Boulder, Colorado. I didn't know anybody, and I started selling real estate. I joined Mike Ferry, which is like a coaching program based around cold calling. And so I got a mastermind group, and I cold called 3 hours a day for 12 years, probably got up to 85 deals a year on my own, like $1 million something GCI. And I was miserable. And that's when I mapped out my retirement. And I did that in 2019, 2020. The first thing I did is I talked to Tucker. So Tucker had a coaching program back then for 6 months. And this is kind of funny. I was remembering it before this call. All the Mike Ferry guys used to wear suits. I think they still do. So they wear suits and ties. I get on my first call with Tucker, and he's wearing flip-flops and a golf shirt. It's like,
Just Tucker.
Making fun of me like I'm a missionary or something. Anyway, so he's the one that turned me on to building my new house and realizing that it's possible. So I kind of went backwards because, I go to these masterminds, and I talk to all these investors and wholesalers, and everybody wants to build houses. And I went right to building houses, and now I'm working backwards. Whereas most guys start with wholesaling, then flips, gut rehabs, and new builds.
Yeah, if you could redo that, would you have gone wholesaling, flipping first, built the machine, then gone new builds, or are you glad you kind of dove head first into it? Because it's a big leap, going from selling real estate as an agent to building, multi-million-dollar infill homes in Boulder. Like you're not going from 1 to 2, you're going kind of from like 1 to 10.
Exactly. So I would definitely do it differently. So I had the active income from selling real estate, so I didn't need to build a wholesaling flipping business. And I think that's the one thing to get into building houses is you need some income. It can't be your sole source of income. Probably the biggest thing I would do differently is I built an internal construction team. I really didn't know anything about construction. It took me about 4 years to dial that in. It runs really slowed down, but I think if I was doing it over again, I would just outsource to a GC. There's some really good GCs that specialize in working with developers. They keep the costs down. The fees are low. I think you could partner with somebody like that and probably be more more profitable and easier. So
Yeah, I was talking to Tucker about this, that because one of my goals as Easy Button grows and continues to create more cash and matures, that's something I want to dabble in is infill. And he was like, dude, like just go. You have the ability to find deals. Just go find a home run deal and partner with a good GC that'll run most of it, but walk you through it. And so that was similar to the blueprint that he honestly, every developer I've asked. I have another good buddy, Greg Lynch of mine, that builds in Kirkland up in Washington and builds a lot of cool stuff there. Same thing, just same exact answer. Just go find the lot, go find the home that you can tear down, partner with someone who's not going to kill you in fees and that will teach you and that you have good rapport with, and do a couple deals that way. I think it's for me, definitely when I do bridge that gap, as you know, right now, I'm really big on having kind of a sole focus. So as my focus expands, as my career furthers, that's definitely probably the way that I would approach it.
for sure, it's a win-win for everybody. The developer loves it because he stays busy. He specializes in building houses and the relationships with the subs, and you're good at finding deals. You find the deals. The one thing I've always, like, if anybody wants to get into it, I'm always like, find a deal where worst case scenario, like 2008 happens again, which feels like we're in right now, that you break even. Because like you have a certain amount of money and capital to build a house. And once you lose that capital, you're kind of out of business. And so like however you map it out, you just have to run your scenario. So worst case scenario, you break even, the investor gets their money back, you get your money back, and you can start again.
Yeah, you should have that. You have to have that principal capital back to be able to redeploy it again and get up and try again. You said right now, and then we'll get into kind of more tactical stuff. You said right now to you, it feels like, oh wait, sitting here in July 2025. Why do you feel like that? Is it just you're getting your ass kicked on some projects, or what do you? Obviously, days on market's gone up a lot of places. It's kind of weird some places, but is that it's been a hard week sentiment, or is that more of like a macroeconomic, just subjective opinion on what's happening?
I think it's the housing market in general. Like, I still work with a lot of sellers, and, you know, people call me for advice, like my past clients and whatnot. And like, even in '08, the worst year, we still had 5.5 million sales, like nationwide. And for the last 3 years, we've been running it in the low 4 millions. And so you've got more real estate agents, you got more wholesalers, you got more flippers, but you got like 25% less deals. And it's just like, from that side of the business, you know, if you're trying to make money in real estate, it's tough. And then especially the last year, I would say, I feel like when I'm negotiating deals with buyers, I just have to give in on everything. Like anytime I push back at all, I get kicked in the teeth. I'm relisting for 100 grand less. And so I can't wait till that stops.
Yeah, which hopefully soon. I mean, it is definitely funky out there in a lot of places. Well, I think that's a good natural segue too. Our teams have been working together, right? Our team at Easy Bud and your team across what you do, between you kind of have a team doing listing stuff, doing direct to seller stuff. We've been helping out there. There's kind of three pillars of what we do. I call it LCO, leads conversion operation. How has your experience been with your team working with my team? I know a lot of the momentum we've built so far in the first 2-3 months or so working together has been on the conversion side and helping your team get deals across the finish line, walk properties in a more efficient way, make offers in a more efficient way. Let's start there. How has that experience been with our team at Easy Button combined with your team focusing on conversion, getting deals across the finish line, capturing revenue that's in the pipeline?
It's been really good. So when we met, I was doing all direct mail, and I was basically taking down the lay down prospects for myself. And then anything else like on the cusp, I was having somebody on my team list them. And she was really having trouble getting involved on the wholesale side or finding deals. And one of the great things that's worked for Easy Button is there's a lot of lead flow that gives people reps. Like I got the reps from selling real estate, but you know, for any other salesperson, you need the reps, you need the conversations. And so that combined with your coach, Tyler, is amazing. I mean, I think in about, it's been like 8 weeks now, and she is hardcore. She's got 4 under contract now. We've got a couple $100K spread between those 4. And they helped me get a lead manager, which is starting to pay off. And I just hired another acquisitions person. So in 8 weeks, I went from no team struggling to a full-fledged team. And it feels like
it's not perfect, right? It's making money, but it's and that's what I think. I think one of the things I'll say here is, now I know we've gone back and forth it's like we've gone back and forth for years on social media on just random stuff. And you know, I've kind of gotten to know a lot of people that Tucker's had in his ecosystem for a long time. But I think one of the patterns that's clear is like you've been willing to take a pretty big leap and then deal with the mess that comes with it, right? Like, for example, going from an agent to a developer, we don't need to go into all the stories. And my guess is there is a lot of hardcore learning lessons that you learn when you go from I'm selling houses to I'm building houses that are painful, that cost money, that cost energy, that you go to bed and I'm like, shit, why did I try to do this so quickly? And I think you have that kind of like true entrepreneurial grit where now you're like, hey, I'm going to jump from no team, one marketing channel, pretty lean, to like, I'm going to try to build this out. And I'm not going to go 0 to 1, and I'm not going to add on one lead a day. And maybe 1 year from now, try to hire one person. I'm going to build this the right way. And I think you take it serious. And I think to your point, the market is hard right now. For the people that I see taking it seriously, that are treating it like a business, they get the results. And not only do they get the results, but they build the foundation. So that, like you said, when the market does start to go the other way and all the leverage is back on the operators like us, that's when you'll kind of go into like, I think, a gold rush era, right? Like you said, you have 6 projects right now. Like if rates came down to 5% next month, when those projects complete, you probably not just hit your pro forma, you probably make a couple extra $100,000 per deal. So I think that is the pro of being an operator and existing in every market cycle is, yeah, you'll have some losses when the market's sideways or down, but by being in the game for those times when the market goes the other way, you have tremendous upside. So segueing there to, obviously we kind of help you build a team. What is, now that you have the core team built, what are some of the things that you found by working with our team, us engaging with Nora and your acquisition team, that you didn't expect, in the sense of things that we've helped implement that you didn't know either A, you needed, or B, let's say, were different than what you thought? Because a lot of work we do with people is boring work. Like what we do is not sexy. Like we're not coming in and saying, hey, here's this magic AI tool that will start printing contracts. It's, hey, let's do some call reviews. Let's find out how you're walking properties and what your appointments look like and tweak those things.
Yeah. So there's a couple of big things that helped. One, you guys have a system that works. And so if somebody has a system that works and they'll teach it to you and help you implement it, there's actually very low risk in trying it out, because it's worked for somebody else in other markets. And all you have to do is just follow their lead and just do what they say. There's like blind faith and it'll work out. So that's one thing. 2, I was about ready to give up hiring a VA executive assistant. I think I went through 6 people since December. And so I finally hired the right person 4 weeks ago. And that was like a game changer.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people get stuck with like a bad or mediocre VA. And really, you just got to go through people until you find an A player, because an A player will 10x your business. And then with Nora transitioning from like an agent to the acquisition side on my team, Tyler walking through her with the leads, like when somebody gets on the phone and they're talking to people, you'll get the same objection over and over and over again until you figure out how to handle it, and then you'll never get it again. And so Tyler helped her figure out what those were and handle them. And then also the leads that I think she was tossing out or like writing off as like dead, he was able to find pretty good money in there. Yeah. and help her see like how to change the way she was looking at it.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's where those 4 deals came from in the last month.
I love that. There's 2 things you hit on there that I'll kind of double click on. One is, a lot of people go through this where they try to hire 3 salespeople, then they give up, or they hire 2 admins and they give up. And I tell people all the time, the reality is, like, I've had to hire 40 salespeople to find like my core rock star. And it's worth it, because once you find that person, it's not like it's not like a small jump from like an average person to a rock star. It's your whole life changes when you have a rock star in the right seat. And so I wanted to double click on that, because you'll hear a lot of operators who are seasoned that have cool companies. You go, man, I want the team like them, but you don't see what Dave just talked about, where he's tried to hire 6 admins since December or whatever he said. Like that's typical. Like it takes time to identify the right kind of candidate, to then know how to work with them and what you need. Like a lot of it's just like, you have to go through a few failures to realize like what you truly need as an operator, and who can support that need. And the second thing you hit on was the dead leads. And I think a lot of the work that we do with people is just realizing there's no real such thing as a dead lead in real estate. Once you realize that nationwide, only about 1.5 to 2% of leads that come into any CRM for any company close in the first 30 days, you realize that this game's about prioritizing people who want to talk now versus next week versus next month, and then building building relationships with them and seeing how you can be of service and provide a real solution. And I think the people that have the real estate agent background generally grasp that easier than the ones that don't, because they've sat in living rooms and they've seen hoarder houses and they've seen people who are really in desperate need of real solutions, and not just, hey, let me make you a cash offer. Because it's not the business we're really in. Like, we think we're in the business of making offers. We're really in the business of how many solutions can we provide for people's real problems, because people sell 1 to 3 homes in their life. So as we move towards the back half of the show, and now that, we talked about how you kind of built your operation, you have your team, your marketing and conversion process, you're doing infill, you're wholesaling, you're flipping. What does the next 12 months look like for you and your head sitting here right now? We talked about kind of long-term, the kind of retirement you mapped out for yourself. What is the next year? Like, if we're sitting here next July and say, hey, that last year was an amazing success, what happens the next 12 months that makes you feel that way?
So I have 6 new builds going. I'd like to have 8 going. So I got to find 2 more. I'm actually looking. So that's one thing. I'd like to run 24 flips in a year. And I'm not talking gut rehabs. I'm talking more of like a light fixer. Dialing in the operations on that, finding the right crews to do it, got it good with the designer. I think I'm really close to just having the system in place to be able to process those flips. And then the wholesales, I just want like 20, 30 wholesales, just enough to pay for all the marketing and pay for all the operations expenses. And then the flips, the new builds are just profit.
Yep. I like that. So your wholesale is kind of your loss leader, right? As it brings in opportunity, you can cherry pick the deals you want to flip and develop at pace for your team, your office, your operations. And then the flipping and developing is and why 8? Like, how did you come up with a number of how many new builds? Is it just like, it sounds cool?
It's funny. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
The 8 is, they take about 2 years. So I was thinking if I could close one every quarter, and I was thinking like, if I make like 500,000 every flip, I close one every quarter, like that's like 2 million a year. Like that sounds pretty good to me. So that's what the goal is. Right now, the market is low soft. The last couple I haven't made that much, but that's the goal. So one every quarter, profit 300 to 800 every new build, and then
closing one new build a quarter. If you have 8 going, that means you'll probably close on 1 a quarter, consistently, which will then put you in line with your kind of your economics you want to create from the new construction.
Yes, like 2 million a year. It sounds like a good number.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot you can't do with 2 million a year active income. So yeah, I think I would align with that. Like when I put pen to paper, I'm like, if I can get $2.5 million a year of income, whether we sell or not, whatever else happens, you're generally good. It's hard to not build wealth as long as you're not, on the NBA player hookers and coke train that they get on for a couple of years. But
exactly.
3 more questions for you. The first question is, what do you think what is a mental frame that you have that you think serves you in business and gives you a leg up and supports what you've been able to do across all the endeavors that you've dove in headfirst into?
I really embrace failure because I realize that's the only way to learn. So I go headlong into stuff I'm not good at or I want to learn. I'm not scared to fail.
Love it.
And it's hard. Really, sorry. It's hard because you spend 20 years in school and they teach you not to fail.
100%. Number 2 is, if someone was thinking about working with as an easy button, what do you think would make a good client? Like if someone came to you and said, hey, Dave, I'm thinking of working with Cole, Tyler, and the team at Easy Button, what would be things you'd look for to know if they were going to be a good client of ours or not?
I think real estate agents would be a great client. Really, anybody who works.
Yeah.
Still hard to find somebody that works.
Yeah, I like that. And then 3rd, if someone wanted to reach out, get connected with you, if they're in Boulder or local, they want to sell you a deal, see what you have going on, what's the easiest way for them to get in contact with you? Is it Instagram? Is it email? What's the easiest way? And we'll put that below in the show notes as well.
Yeah, if you just go to Janis Properties, it's got our phone number on it. You call our office. Email is easy, dave@davejanis.com. So I'm happy to help out or look at any deals. You can just chat real estate with anybody.
Well, Dave, thanks for coming on. That was an awesome show. As you guys know, on the Easy Button Real Estate Podcast, we put no paid ads, paid promotion behind the show. It's all grown from organic word of mouth. And the past couple of weeks have been our biggest weeks ever of downloads. So appreciate you guys telling your friends. And as always, as we sign off, you're only one deal away.